Alright lads, so today we are over on BBS Simulator because surprisingly today we did get some Datamine information courtesy of MolyPrim over on Reddit in regards to the next set of resurrectable characters, which in this case is Christmas, RIRUKA, MOMO, and also RANGIKU. It was expected that these characters would be resurrected next. I mean, Christmas after all is coming up in like less than 10 days time, and Christmas characters resurrections always happen at the end of the year, but to get them resurrected this early is kind of different, I guess. But for those that are wondering, these characters will be resurrected on the 27th or 28th of this month, and obviously I've yet to see their resurrectable upgrades, but I'm highly doubting it's going to be anything super crazy. More often than not, the good resurrections, at least as far as resurrection standards do go, are for 1000-year blood characters and also anniversary. For characters like this, the best we can hope for is maybe an upgrade on their potential range, a bit more damage, but more so good soul traits. So with that said, let's go ahead and check it out. First up, starting off with RIRUKA. Now, as for this character, she was always someone that was designed to go against specifically heart attribute hollows. I think it was around this time we started to get characters like this that were really dedicated to having killer, and when they have killer, they get their increased status and chance. When this character first came out, it wasn't anything super crazy, but I believe maybe that year, these characters came out, I believe, in 2020, but in 2021, it was the year we started to get inheritance trials where a character like this started to shine a tad bit more because an increased status and chance when there were hollow enemies was actually valuable to have for clearing inheritance trials as fast as possible. So she was always like a random character that came out, didn't really get a place to shine, but once inheritance trials came out, there was some usage for this character for a brief time. And I'll be honest, now that I'm looking at the characters again, I actually really like this character design and the artwork itself. I think this year for Christmas RIRUKA was actually really cool. With that said though, she is a 14% recharge soul trait. So what you would love to see is more damage. Strong attack damage, simple, 16% sad would be great. 20% more strong attack damage when at full stamina would be amazing. It would make her one of the best links in the entire game, like the most recent 1000-year blood Ryukin. But considering that she's not a 1000-year blood character, I'm really not holding out on her getting a good soul trait, especially just because we got Ichigo resurrected, who also got a good soul trait less than a week ago. Since it is an enhanced soul trait, that's the one you don't want Caleb to mess up on, but chances are what we are going to see here is just damage to Frozen, which again, depending on the future characters that we do get, could be somewhat decent. You know, Rukia, for example, does want to inflict freeze and do more damage to freeze, but I still don't think you would use that over a normal good soul trait like 1000-year blood war 10 years later Ichigo. As far as the skills go, she has Berserker, Bruiser, Debilitator, Devastation, Frenzy, Increased Thousand Chance, and also Sprinter. What we are likely going to see her pick up here is Guard Break, preferably Havoc, and if possible, a Spiritual Pressure boost. That would actually be really good for a character like this, but we're most likely also going to see more damage to frozen enemies, because that seems to be the trend Killer are doing right now for resurrectable characters, especially with the soul trait. Instead of getting status augment duration because they're basically no longer needed, we're now just getting damage to X status augment. So with that said, let's see what RIRUKA does have to offer. So she is doing a damage to frozen enemies plus 20% for the soul trait. Again, not the best soul trait in all honesty, because in the fact that she was a 14% recharge character, you would like to see a different soul trait. But remember, like at this point in time, Mind and every other attribute has access to just amazing links in general. While I would have obviously loved for this character to get a really good second soul trait, it doesn't impact me that much, you know? Would have been nice, but like I'm not gonna throw a hissy fit because she didn't get a really good soul trait. I'm fine as is with the soul traits that I do have. Will I ever use a soul trait like this? I'm not too sure, but you never know what the future meta might hold. In terms of skills, she did get an increase of 20% on her strong attack damage, that being the Berserker skill. She did pick up Guard Break, and as far as innate skills do go, she did get the Havoc. Did she get any other skill? Unfortunately not, and because she isn't a 1000-year blood character, she doesn't get an innate skill. So we were really close to actually getting a actual really good upgrade with a character like this. It was expected she was going to pick up Guard Break. That is now the norm. If you don't have Guard Break, and you can get it, likely that is going to be the first skill that you do get. She got a 40% damage increase. 20% of that is tied behind the fact that you need to inflict freeze, which, assuming she is up against Heart Hollows, that'll be really good. The Havoc is nice. More range overall is great. If she could have picked up a second skill, though, I would have absolutely loved for her to have picked up the Spiritual Pressure boost, and that would have actually made her a really good resurrection. Unfortunately not, though. Will you use this character as a soul trait? Likely not. Will you use this character now she has resurrected? At least she'll be more enjoyable for those that do want to use her, especially when you are up against Heart Hollow characters. After that, we have Momo, and I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely despise this character. I don't really have strong feelings on Momo as a character, in all honesty. I know some people really like her, some people really hate her. I just really hate this character. She was our first link slot character in the speed attribute, so when it came to farming Inheritance Zone, which, you know, nowadays is relatively super easy, back then it was pretty difficult, and I was forced to use this character, and her SA2 in particular, right, if we actually scroll down and have a look at what it is, just looking at the similarities, it is Aaroniero's Strong Attack 2, which is the one that he did introduce, and this Strong Attack 2, which I believe we've only ever seen 4 times with these 3 characters, 4 including Momo, is that it groups people into you and then pushes them away. But the problem is the invincibility frames on that SA2 is just terrible. Because that in-between phase when you're sucking everyone in and then about to push them away, you don't have invincibility frames. So you can get hit and you can get cancelled out of that Strong Attack 2. And that's always been its problem because the character like this, for example, especially in Inheritance Zone when that was available, if there was a boss doing a charge-up attack and you inflicted Lacerate, it would cancel that charge attack that the boss was about to let off, where you get potentially free, you know, a couple seconds of doing damage, and they would instantly use their normal attack and then make you lose all your full stamina, or potentially in some cases die because characters weren't super tanky back then. So strong attack kit wise, I just really didn't like her gameplay, especially with the Lacerate. Lacerate kind of made it worse to a certain extent. So absolutely, long story short, despised using this character. So I'm maybe hoping for her downfall. I don't want to see anything good. I don't know. In terms of the soul trait though, she'll likely, might be the pattern right, get damage to lacerated, which probably isn't that good of a soul trait because it'll only be 20%. We do have access to Bambietta, who's recharged 12% and 30% damage to lacerated enemies, which is actually a pretty decent soul trait for someone like Kenpachi. And since she is a resurrectable character, this will be 20% if she does get that, so you won't ever use this character as a link to Kenpachi over someone like Bambietta. In terms of skills though, she has Berserker, Bruiser, Damage to Lacerated, Debilitator, Devastation, Frenzy, Power Links or Potion +5, and also Sprinter +1. She already has 8 skills here, so likely we're only going to get 1 new skill in the innate skill, and that likely is going to be Guard Break. And then because of that, because she already has 40% damage to lacerated enemies, I assume she's just going to get a simple strong attack damage increase as far as soul traits are concerned. Let's find out though, shall we? So soul trait is still damage to lacerated enemies. Interesting. She already has 40% as a skill, so that goes up to 60%. Her Berserker went up by 10%, but unfortunately it didn't go higher than that. And that's basically about it. So again, still a super situational soul trait. And with Zombie Bambietta, a soul trait like this does exist and is better because you're getting 30% instead of 20%. So seems like a filler batch, right, in terms of soul traits that we are getting here. And the character itself didn't really get all that better, but I guess I do like the 20% Havoc. The problem with this character has always been the range, but likewise now it's range and damage output. And then last but not least, we have Rangiku. And this, looking at all 3 characters now, this was actually kind of just a mediocre Christmas banner, I will be honest. None of these characters had like any shine in the game besides Momo, and that was because she was the first Link's character, and she got quickly replaced. This character was kind of used and designed for the Amelia Espada Guild quest, and I actually max transcended her to use her in there, but I don't think I ever did. So likewise, she is a 12% recharge soul trait. Let's just kind of brush past this really quick. She's probably picking up damage to paralyze, right? That seems to be the trend with this particular batch. Which I get it, it's the trend in general that Caleb are doing, but I am kind of surprised that we haven't gotten many strong attack damage soul traits as of late. Like when we do get strong attack damage, it's at full stamina, the 20% one, the really good one, which is what you want to see. But right now, it seems like you're either getting a really good one or a like just mediocre one. No, like no decent full stamina or just strong attack damage, which again we have plenty of, but still would be nice to maybe see some new ones. In terms of skills though, she has quite a lot going for her as far as the 2020 character did go, but she isn't picking up any new skills here, so we might potentially see, we are going to see more so 1 new innate skill, and considering what they did to Momo, it's likely going to be Havoc. And Havoc upon resurrecting is always nice. More range is always good, right? And I believe I remember this character having good strong attacks, if I look correctly. Yeah, she has like a beam SA1, SA2's 960 if she has Havoc, and then the SA3, it's kind of like a vacuum attack. Not the greatest strong attack kit, but nonetheless, decent for what she wanted to be using. We're probably going to see a Berserker increase and a Paralyzed Enemies increase. So last up then, scrolling down, she does get damage to paralyzed enemies, a 10% strong attack damage increase, and the innate skill does pick up Havoc. So very similar to what Momo got, and to a certain extent what RIRUKA did get too. RIRUKA just was lucky enough to pick up Guard Break because she was missing a skill when compared to Momo and Rangiku that were in her banner. So as expected, to be fair, kind of a filler resurrection batch. All characters kind of picked up the same skill here. No amazing soul trait by any means. But since it is Christmas, it was expected these characters would resurrect. If anything, the main thing they look at characters like this when they do resurrect is orbs, right? It's extra orbs for the end of the year banner, assuming you do own them. I do, so that's extra 200 orbs for the end of year banner, which I desperately do need. Because if we head over to the game right now and I quickly claim all the rewards, right, what is my orb count currently looking at? Well, it's actually looking quite good, I might say, because I haven't actually done Senkamon just yet, so that's like another 400 orbs that I can get. So with these resurrection orbs, that's at least 5,000. And remember, to do Pity in this game all the way to step 25, it does take 5,500. And most of these orbs are free to play too, so that's actually quite impressive for me, right? But to be fair, I do need orbs for mid-month, right? Because that is dropping tomorrow, and I do want to at least do 3 steps. So I should be good for end of year, do 3 steps on mid-month, and still have enough orbs. Maybe I might need to buy a pack or 2 to go to step 25, because best believe I'm going to step 25 on an end of year banner. Are you mad? I mean, end of year for me, as someone that plays this game a lot, is always like 25 steps guaranteed, especially anniversary 2. So if we can scroll down and have a look at what's next, the oldest batch to get resurrected now is Can't Fear Your Own Worlds. Now, this time last year, I believe, it was a Can't Fear Your Own World batch, but we didn't have the anime going on, so 1000 Year Blood War took its place, right? Because we just got 10 years later Ichigo Rukia resurrected. So I would like to say, especially now that 1000 Year Blood was basically done for the most part, you know, the first 14 manga runs have been resurrected. Our next 1000 Year Blood banner, you know, it doesn't happen for another year and a half. So we shouldn't be seeing any 1000 Year Blood resurrections anytime soon. And maybe that's why they have been stalling Can't Fear Your Own Worlds. Because now that 1000 Year Blood is basically out of its way, we should now move into Can't Fear Your World, because there's a lot to go. There's like 10, 11 plus rounds, and then eventually, you know, we need to start Spirits Are Forever With You characters, which should hopefully happen sometime next year. In terms of our next set of resurrectable characters, it is actually finally 5th anniversary. I've been seeing a lot of people say that they are delaying Ichigo and Byakuya. That's definitely not the case. Remember, resurrections basically go in order of release with very few exceptions. Sometimes characters get done early if it's a seasonal event, like now, for example. You know, Christmas characters are all the way up here, yeah, we're all the way down here for premium and Can't Fear Your Worlds. 1000 Year Blood War, they get resurrected when the anime is airing, so they get done a lot earlier. In terms of premium characters, they go in order, but occasionally, like we saw during the 4th anniversary, they can get brought ahead of time and be done earlier when the timing is right. And I still believe 5th anniversary should have been resurrected during the 9th anniversary, but just because they didn't do them doesn't mean they were delayed, right? I mean, we'll see how it does go, but this now should be our next batch to get resurrected at the start of January, more so mid-month of January. If the oldest premium banner to now get resurrected, 3rd anniversary Okura was resurrected during January, likewise with Quincy Ichigo too, so we should see Ichigo and also Byakuya's resurrection sometime next month. And considering what 10 years later Ichigo and Rukia got, we're likely going to do the same thing here with these two characters. Ichigo should pick up the spiritual pressure boost, hopefully some innate skills, and then Byakuya should also be getting, you know, Frenzy +2. And if anything, right, what I'm maybe more excited about these characters is that despite them being absolutely amazing, like these are the standout characters for the year 2020, and the 10 years later characters I think were slightly better. The 10 years later characters though, they came with 3 innate skills, 2 innate skills for example. So there's a lot of potential with these characters' resurrections because they have no innate skills. Ichigo and Byakuya could potentially pick up 2 to 3 new skills, hopefully. So while 10 years later Ichigo and Rukia did get good upgrades, they were still limited on what they could get because they already had like maxed out skills. So basically what I'm gonna say is I'm looking forward to 5th anniversary characters resurrections. Hope they don't fumble them. Even if it doesn't make them super OP, like you're not going to expect that with resurrections, as long as it makes them better and more fun, I'm super down for it because I really do like these characters. And with their resurrections out of the way, we should hopefully start looking into them getting remade next year. That does seem to be the trend, right? They get resurrected, then they get remade. We got Mugetsu resurrected last year. We received him this year. We're still waiting on a potential Full Hollow remix, so maybe 5th anniversary characters remakes aren't going to happen straight away, maybe near the end of next year, but I'm hoping to see them resurrected, especially because since we are getting a lot of 1000 Year Blood banners and a lack of original What If forms, understandably so, right? 1000 Year Blood now is the main thing. We had years of original characters non-stop, and they've almost done everything they can do as far as original forms are concerned, but I am really looking forward to a potential remake of Ichigo and Byakuya, because I think the most fun part and unique part about remakes of characters like this is that, one, they look the exact same, obviously, right? New visuals, but it's really cool to see a character that we've known for years and been playing with for years do a different attack, especially in the swim animation. Like, I felt like the remake of Ichigo and also Okura, the 3rd anniversary and also Quincy one, their remakes and seeing them do different attacks was actually really cool. But yeah, Either way, that's the video for today. Christmas characters have now been resurrected. For the most part, a filler batch, more so just to get extra orbs for the end of the year, and our next resurrection batch should be 5th anniversary Ichigo and Byakuya finally. In the comments below, let me know what you guys think about the characters' resurrections, and let's see you guys next time. Take care and peace.